Now, listen, I was chatting with your agent, EJ, and he was pointing out that like there's been kind of different parallels between you and the Raptors. Like you've had big moments with the Raptors before even signing on with the team. And I was thinking about this. So you came in for a draft workout with the Raptors in 2019. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, did you basically know even back then, like they had some level of interest in you? They've been keeping, obviously their eyes on you. And I'm not sure, obviously, I think the Raptors only had the 59th pick that year, but there seems to be a little bit of history there. And I think the other thing your agent pointed out was, so you got your deal with Houston this year because you were on the two-way and they signed you to a multi-year deal after, I think, during preseason. And I didn't remember this, but the deal was signed right after you hit 5 threes against the Raptors in preseason. Is that correct too?
Yeah, we played up here during the preseason, and I played in the fourth quarter, and I had 15, all 3-pointers.
Well, I mean, so there's two like crossroads right there, and then the third one obviously was you were in town, slightly west in Mississauga, and you were playing the Raptors 905. And I think you had like 24, you had 7, a couple steals, a couple blocks, and you played really well for the College Park Skyhawks that night. And then like 3 days later, you got the call that the Raptors want to sign you up. Is that also true?
Yeah, that is true. That time it was kind of funny.
So, I mean, like you, I guess if you do enough damage to the Raptors, they will eventually call your agent and hit you up. But I think there was a funny story I think you were telling Amy Audibert about also when you got the call. I think she said something like you were eating ice cream or something like that when you got the call from your agent to sign with the Raptors. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, so I was just out and about in Atlanta, after practice one day. And I just stopped by to get some ice cream before I headed back to my apartment. And I was in line, and my agent called me and was like, "Yo, bro, you got to go pack your bags. You get on a plane tonight." I'm like, "Bro, what are you talking about?" So I had to, like, rush home, pack my bags, and I had to be at the airport in, like, an hour and a half. So it was a pretty hectic process, honestly. And but, it paid off, and it's a blessing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, speaking of that, though, there's another really hectic, probably even more hectic story involving your agent calling you to put you on a flight. And this one involves before you started your NBA career. You were on a flight. You were about to hop on a flight to go to New Zealand to play for, I think, 3 months. And on your way there, you got a call from your agent on April Fool's Day. So just talk us through that story, because that thing is incredible. I mean, imagine what would happen if you had gone on that flight to New Zealand. Plus, that thing's like 17 hours.
Yeah.
You're probably sure you didn't want to do that, but walk us through that story.
Yeah, so I was I had just landed in L.A. from my flight from Austin. So obviously, I don't know if you've, played basketball overseas or anything, but just the emotions that go into, saying goodbye to your family and your friends,
right?
Everything that can go into being away for that long and, across the world is, it's a lot in itself. So, the flight from Austin to LA was about three and a half hours. So, as soon as I land, I get a phone call from EJ as I'm walking to the baggage claim, and he's like, "Yo, bro, I think we're about to put you on a flight back to Houston." I'm like, "Bro, what are you talking about? Well, I'm not coming back to Houston. I already got a 17-hour flight ahead of me, so I'm not trying to circle back that fast." And then he told me that the Rockets were getting ready to sign me to a two-way, and I honestly thought he was kidding because the timing of everything and like why it happened at that exact moment. It was April Fool's Day, so I told him, I was like, "EJ, bro, do not be playing with me right now. Like, this is not something to joke about.
Yep.
Like, this is not something you play with." And he was like, "No, bro, like, I'm dead serious. Like, well, I'm about to send you some flight information, and you're gonna be on a plane back to Houston within the next hour and a half."
Wow.
And so I'm literally at baggage claim, just crying, telling my family that I'm about to come back to Houston and that I don't got to go to New Zealand. And that, I'm getting my first opportunity to play in the NBA. And, obviously that timing is unbelievable because, 2 hours later, I would have been on a 17-hour flight to New Zealand. And who knows how we would have made that happen.
Yeah.
And, it's a crazy story. It's almost something that you could write in a book.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, man. And seriously, shout out to the cause, like not only did Houston sign you up, that's basically like playing in your hometown because you play for University of Houston as well, and you know,
Yeah.
that was a great story, man. And hey, lastly, you probably get asked this all the time, really, but a lot of people don't know. But you're related to Mark Phillips of RDC World. Like, so
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to say this at all to offend you at all, but what's it like being the second most famous player in your family?
No, it's actually funny because, growing up, we talked about, accomplishing our goals together. And, it's just crazy that we can go back and tell these stories and, how we were growing up playing around. And we would make fun of each other because of the dreams that we both had. And it's just crazy to see that we both accomplished what we want to get. And, obviously we both have, higher aspirations of what we want to do and, where we want to go in our careers. But, it's great to be able to have him. He's a great resource for me because, he has his life and, he's been there and done a lot of the things that I'm trying to do. And, he's a great role model for me and I really look up to him. And, I just want to keep chasing my dreams and growing like how he's growing.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Listen, it's so funny because I don't know, I went on like a YouTube, binge kind of streak where I was just watching a whole bunch of RDC World right before, like in this past week, and then my producer tells me, "Yo, we can get Armani on the show," and I was like, "Damn, it's so funny how the world works." But Armani, man, listen, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Congratulations once again on joining the team, and yeah, man, best of luck for the rest of the season and for the playoffs. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you, my man.
All right, that was Raptors guard Armani Brooks.